Ladies and gentlemen, discipline is one of those words that doesn't always sound exciting. When people hear it, they often think of restriction, hard work, or even punishment. But in reality, discipline is a gift. It's the bridge between where you are right now and the life you desire to live. It's the key that unlocks your potential and helps you move forward when your feelings or circumstances try to hold you back. Success doesn't begin with luck, talent, or opportunities. It begins with discipline. Many times, we want the reward without the responsibility. We want the harvest without planting the seed. But life doesn't work that way. Every success story you admire has a hidden foundation of consistent, daily discipline. Discipline is not always dramatic. In fact, it's often very quiet. It's choosing to get up early when you feel like staying in bed. It's deciding to keep your mouth shut when you want to respond in anger. It's turning off the TV and reading a book that will feed your mind. These small, almost invisible choices build the character and strength that success requires. Now, discipline is not something we wait to feel like doing. If we wait until we feel ready, we'll wait forever. Discipline is a decision you make, not an emotion you follow. Feelings will tell you to quit, to give up, to take the easy road. But discipline whispers, stay steady, keep going, don't give up. It pushes you forward when motivation is nowhere to be found. And the beautiful thing is this: the more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. It's like a muscle. You don't grow it overnight, but the more you use it, the more powerful it gets. We all face moments of weakness. There will be days you stumble and give in to distractions or discouragement. That doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you're human. The key is to not stay down. Discipline helps you get back up, dust yourself off, and keep moving toward your goal. Every step you take in discipline makes the next step easier. Before long, what once felt impossible becomes a normal part of your life. True success isn't measured by quick wins or temporary excitement. It's measured by faithfulness, by the ability to keep showing up day after day, even when no one is watching and no applause is given. Success belongs to those who are willing to pay the price of discipline. Because discipline builds the foundation strong enough to carry the weight of success. Discipline is the foundation of true success because without it, every dream, every vision, and every desire remains nothing more than a wish. We can want change, we can hope for transformation, and we can even pray for opportunities. But unless we are willing to live disciplined lives, success will never truly take root. Discipline is the groundwork, the soil that allows the seeds of success to grow. You can plant the most beautiful seed in the world, but if the soil is dry and unkept, it will never flourish. The same is true for life. Your goals, your calling, and your success can only grow in the fertile soil of consistent discipline. The truth is, everyone wants the results of success, but not everyone wants to embrace the discipline it requires. People want to be healthier, but resist the discipline of eating right and exercising. They want financial freedom, but avoid the discipline of saving, budgeting, and wise spending. They want strong relationships, but lack the discipline to nurture them with patience, forgiveness, and intentional effort. Success in any area doesn't just show up. It is built day by day, moment by moment, through the decisions we make and the habits we establish. That is why discipline is not just important. It is absolutely essential. Discipline also protects success. Many people achieve a measure of success, but because they never built discipline along the way, they can't sustain it. Think of a person who wins the lottery overnight. They may suddenly have wealth, but without financial discipline, that wealth often disappears just as quickly. Studies have shown that many lottery winners end up broke within a few years, not because they lacked money, but because they lacked discipline. Success without discipline is fragile, temporary, and often destructive. But when success is built on the solid ground of discipline, it stands the test of time. Discipline is not glamorous, and that's why so many resist it. It's easier to dream about the future, than to practice the discipline that will take you there. It feels better to talk about big plans than to do the small, consistent actions that bring those plans to life. Discipline doesn't always give instant gratification. In fact, it often feels uncomfortable, inconvenient, and unrecognized. But those who endure it, those who stay faithful to discipline, will eventually enjoy the rewards that others only dream of. There's always a price for success, and discipline is that price. Think about anyone you admire for their achievements: an athlete, a leader, an entrepreneur, or even a person of strong character. What you see is the glory, but what you don't see is the story of discipline behind it. You don't see the early mornings when they got up while everyone else slept. You don't see the countless times they said no to distractions or easy shortcuts. You don't see the practice, the repetition, the perseverance that built the excellence you admire today. Success always leaves clues, and discipline is one of the biggest clues you'll ever find. Another important truth about discipline being the foundation of success is that it builds character. Success isn't just about achieving goals. It's also about becoming the kind of person who can handle success. Without character, success can ruin people. We've all seen examples of individuals who gained fame, wealth, or influence, but without the character to sustain it, their lives fell apart. Discipline shapes us from the inside out. It teaches patience when results are slow. It teaches humility when progress is made one small step at a time. It teaches strength when setbacks come. Discipline doesn't just prepare us for success. It prepares us to handle success well when it arrives. It's easy to want the end product, but it's discipline that crafts the process. Every discipline, whether it's showing up on time, keeping promises, practicing honesty, or maintaining self-control, creates an invisible framework that holds your success in place. People may not notice your discipline, but they will notice the fruit of it. Discipline is like the unseen roots of a tree. Nobody admires the roots. Nobody applauds the roots, but without them, the tree cannot stand tall or bear fruit. In the same way, discipline anchors your life and allows the visible fruit of success to grow. Some people wait for motivation before they act, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Discipline, however, is steady. Discipline shows up when motivation is gone. Discipline does the work when feelings say quit. Discipline moves you forward when distractions try to hold you back. This is why discipline is the foundation, because it keeps you consistent, and consistency is what produces lasting results. Success doesn't come to the most talented, the most gifted, or even the most educated. It comes to those who stay disciplined long enough to see the harvest of their labor. When you understand this, you begin to see discipline not as a burden, but as a blessing. It becomes the structure that keeps you steady, the guardrail that keeps you safe, and the strength that keeps you moving forward. Every time you choose discipline, you are laying another brick in the foundation of your success. You may not see the structure rising yet, but trust that over time, the foundation will hold something far greater than you could imagine. And when the day comes that success shines brightly in your life, it will not be fragile or fleeting, because it will be standing firm on the solid rock of discipline. Small choices lead to big results because life is built one decision at a time. We often think success comes from a single breakthrough moment, a dramatic opportunity, or a sudden change, but the truth is, success is the result of little choices we make every day. These choices may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they compound and create a powerful impact. Just like a drop of water falling consistently on a rock will eventually make a mark, our repeated small decisions carve the direction of our lives. Too often, people underestimate the power of daily habits. They think skipping one workout doesn't matter, or spending a little extra money won't make a difference, or speaking harshly once won't harm a relationship. But the truth is, these small choices accumulate. They either move us closer to success or slowly drift us toward failure. The person who becomes financially stable doesn't do it overnight. It happens by choosing, day after day, to save, budget, and avoid unnecessary spending. The person who is physically fit doesn't get there by one trip to the gym. It happens by showing up consistently, making one healthy choice at a time. The strong marriage, the thriving career, the fulfilled life, they are all the product of many small decisions stacked on top of each other. The challenge is that small choices rarely feel urgent. They don't demand your attention the way big crises do. Choosing to drink water instead of soda, to read a chapter of a book instead of scrolling endlessly on your phone, or to speak kindly instead of snapping back in anger. These moments may not seem to change your life immediately, but over time they build a pattern, and that pattern becomes your lifestyle. One day you wake up and realize your life looks exactly like the sum of all those little choices you've been making, whether for good or for bad. This is why discipline plays such an important role in making small choices consistently. It's not difficult to make a good choice once, but it takes discipline to repeat it over and over until it becomes second nature. Small choices can feel boring, routine, or even invisible to others. Nobody is going to applaud you for saying no to dessert or for turning off the TV to go to bed on time. But those choices matter. They matter because they are shaping who you are becoming. And one day, when the results are visible, people will notice the outcome without realizing the invisible discipline that created it. There's something powerful about understanding the compound effect of choices. Just as interest grows on money over time, choices compound over time to build either success or regret. A person who smokes one cigarette may not feel the damage immediately, but years later, the habit shows its effects. On the other hand, a person who spends just 30 minutes every day learning a new skill may not feel like an expert right away, but over a year, that's more than 180 hours invested, and over a decade, it's mastery. Small disciplines practiced consistently don't just add up. They multiply. The beautiful thing about small choices is that they are accessible to everyone. You don't need to have wealth, connections, or extraordinary talent to make them. Anyone can choose to take one step in the right direction, no matter how small. Success is not reserved for a certain group of people. It's available to those who are willing to make daily, intentional choices that align with their goals. It's not about perfection either. Even if you miss it one day, you can always get back up the next and keep making those small right decisions. Progress is built on persistence, not perfection. Think about how often people get discouraged because they don't see instant results. They give up because they think their small actions don't matter. But imagine planting a seed in the ground. For weeks you may see nothing happening. If you judged only by what's visible, you'd think the seed had died. But beneath the soil, roots are forming, growth is happening, and in time, the results will show. That's exactly how small choices work in life. Just because you don't see the outcome today doesn't mean change isn't taking place. Every choice is a seed, and in time, the harvest will come. The truth is, success isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the small, hidden moments when no one else is watching. The decision to show up early, to give your best effort, to be honest when it would be easier to cut corners. These are the things that shape your future. They may not make headlines, but they make character. And character sustains success far longer than talent or opportunity ever could. When we begin to value small choices, life changes. We stop looking for the big, magical breakthrough and start focusing on the little things we can do today. We realize that success is not one giant leap, but many small steps taken consistently over time. Those steps may be uncomfortable, inconvenient, or even unnoticed, but they are not wasted. Each one moves us forward. Each one matters. Each one is part of the bigger picture of who we are becoming and where we are going. So never underestimate the power of a small choice. It may seem ordinary, but in the end, it carries extraordinary results. Success begins in those quiet moments of decision, repeated faithfully until they shape a life of purpose, achievement, and fulfillment. Discipline is a decision, not a feeling, and this truth has the power to transform how we live. Too many people wait for the perfect mood, the right level of motivation, or a sudden burst of inspiration before they act. But if we live life based on feelings alone, we will constantly be tossed around like a ship with no anchor. Feelings are unpredictable. They rise and fall, they shift with circumstances, and they can lead us into inconsistency. Discipline, however, is steady. It doesn't depend on how we feel in the moment. It's rooted in commitment. When you understand that discipline is a decision, you stop letting feelings dictate your future. Think about how many times people say, "I just don't feel like it." That one phrase has kept countless individuals from pursuing their goals, building healthy habits, and achieving success. You may not feel like getting out of bed early, going to the gym, or keeping your word when it's inconvenient. You may not feel like forgiving someone, being patient, or practicing self-control. But if you only act when you feel like it, your progress will always be limited. The people who succeed are not the ones who always feel motivated. They are the ones who have learned to make decisions regardless of feelings. Feelings often whisper excuses. They tell you that tomorrow will be better, that you deserve a break, that it's too hard or not worth the effort. And in the moment, those excuses can sound so convincing. But discipline speaks louder if you choose to listen. Discipline says, do it now, stay consistent, keep moving forward. It pulls you beyond temporary emotions into lasting progress. A disciplined person doesn't wait for the right mood. They decide to do what's right no matter how they feel. That decision is where growth and success begin. This doesn't mean feelings are bad. Emotions are a natural part of life, but they were never meant to be the driver of our decisions. They are passengers, not the steering wheel. Discipline is what keeps the direction steady when emotions try to turn you off course. Think about a pilot flying a plane. If the pilot allowed every gust of wind to dictate the path, the plane would never reach its destination. The pilot relies on the instruments and a predetermined flight plan. In the same way, discipline is our internal instrument panel. It keeps us aligned with our goals even when feelings blow us in the opposite direction. Every major accomplishment in life requires doing things you don't feel like doing. A student who earns a degree studies when they'd rather go out with friends. A parent raising children shows patience even when they feel exhausted. An athlete preparing for a competition trains on days when motivation is nowhere to be found. These examples remind us that success is built not on emotional highs, but on steady decisions. When you choose discipline over feelings, you take charge of your future instead of letting your moods control it. The more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes to override feelings. At first, it feels unnatural because you're used to following emotions. But over time, you begin to experience the rewards of disciplined choices. You notice your health improving, your relationships strengthening, your finances growing, or your skills developing. Those results fuel you to keep going. What once felt like a heavy burden starts to feel like a way of life. You no longer have to wrestle with feelings as much because you've trained yourself to act on decisions. There's also freedom in discipline. At first, it might feel restrictive because it requires saying no to certain desires. But in reality, discipline frees you from being enslaved to emotions. When you're not controlled by how you feel, you're free to pursue what truly matters. Discipline gives you stability in an unstable world. It allows you to keep promises to yourself and others. It gives you the dignity of living by principle not by impulse. And in the long run, it produces a kind of joy that fleeting feelings can never give. It's also important to understand that discipline is not about perfection. There will be times when you give in to feelings, when you skip the habit or fall short of your goal. That doesn't mean you've failed. What matters is what you decide next. Do you stay down, or do you get back up and recommit to your decision? A single lapse doesn't cancel out the power of discipline. What defines you is your willingness to choose again, to stay on track, and to not let emotions dictate the final outcome. Discipline as a decision is really about living intentionally. It's choosing your actions in alignment with your values and your vision, rather than reacting to whatever mood you're in. Feelings may say, take the easy road. Discipline says, choose the better road. Feelings may demand comfort. Discipline pursues growth. Feelings are temporary, but decisions made with discipline can shape the entire trajectory of your life. Every great achievement begins with a choice. Not a choice made once, but a choice made over and over again until it becomes a lifestyle. The decision to be disciplined is the decision to rise above your emotions and walk steadily toward your purpose. And that choice, repeated faithfully, is what separates those who dream from those who succeed. Discipline builds strength over time because it is like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. No one starts out with perfect discipline. In fact, for many people, discipline feels like an uphill battle at first. It's uncomfortable to resist old habits, inconvenient to create new routines, and frustrating when progress seems slow. But just like lifting weights at the gym, every time you practice discipline, you're making yourself stronger. You may not see the results immediately, but deep inside, something is changing. Little by little, you're building resilience, character, and inner strength that will carry you further than you ever imagined. In the beginning, discipline often feels heavy. Think about the first time someone starts working out after years of inactivity. The weights feel overwhelming, the movements are awkward, and the soreness is discouraging. But if they stick with it, their body adapts. What once seemed impossible eventually becomes normal. The same is true with discipline in everyday life. Waking up early, saving money, eating healthy, studying, or practicing patience might feel unnatural at first. But if you persist, it becomes part of who you are. The very thing that was once a burden becomes a strength. This principle applies in every area of life. An athlete trains daily not just to win a game, but to build strength that will sustain them when the competition gets tough. A student disciplines themselves to study so that when exams come, they're prepared to handle the challenge. A parent disciplines themselves to stay calm and consistent so that when children test boundaries, they can respond with wisdom instead of anger. Strength is not built in the moment of crisis. It is built in the moments of discipline beforehand. What you do consistently in private equips you for what you will face in public. Discipline also builds strength by teaching you how to endure discomfort. We live in a world that constantly seeks comfort, convenience, and instant gratification. But success often requires the opposite. It requires doing things that stretch you, challenge you, and even frustrate you. Discipline helps you learn to sit in that discomfort without quitting. Every time you choose to endure rather than escape, your capacity to handle pressure increases. Over time, things that once felt unbearable become manageable, and things that once seemed hard become easy. That's the power of discipline. It enlarges your capacity for life. One of the reasons discipline is so powerful is because it compounds over time. Just as muscles grow stronger with repeated exercise, the more you practice discipline, the more natural it becomes. For example, if you start the discipline of reading for just 15 minutes a day, it may not seem like much at first. But over a year, you've invested more than 90 hours in learning. That knowledge gives you strength of mind, confidence in decision making, and a broader perspective on life. Small disciplines practiced daily create long, strength that big, one-time efforts can never replace. Another way discipline builds strength is through consistency. Sporadic effort doesn't build lasting strength. It's not what you do once in a while that makes the difference, but what you do repeatedly over time. Strength comes from showing up, even on the days you don't feel like it. Every time you push yourself to keep going, you're building mental toughness. You're proving to yourself that you can do hard things. And with each victory, no matter how small, your confidence grows. Eventually, you begin to realize that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. It's also important to recognize that discipline strengthens not only your actions, but also your mindset. It rewires the way you think. Instead of giving in to laziness, excuses, or fear, discipline teaches you to think in terms of solutions, persistence, and long-term reward. It shifts your perspective from short-term comfort to long-term gain. And once your mindset is strengthened, your entire outlook on life changes. You no longer see challenges as roadblocks, but as opportunities to grow stronger. Discipline doesn't just build external habits. It builds internal fortitude. At times, discipline will feel like a lonely road because it often requires you to make choices that others are unwilling to make. While others are sleeping in, you may be waking up early. While others are spending recklessly, you may be budgeting carefully. While others give in to anger, you may be practicing self-control. These choices set you apart, but they also set you up for greater strength. You may not see the results right away, but over time, your consistent discipline will give you a stability and endurance that others lack. And when difficulties come, as they always do, you will stand firm because discipline has made you strong. The strength that discipline builds is not just about achieving success. It's about sustaining it. Many people can taste success for a moment, but without the strength that discipline creates, they cannot carry it for the long haul. Discipline builds the stamina to keep going when excitement fades. It creates the endurance to handle the weight of responsibility. It develops the perseverance to keep pressing forward when obstacles appear. Success without strength is temporary, but success built on discipline is lasting. Ultimately, discipline builds strength over time because it transforms you from the inside out. It takes you from being ruled by impulses to being led by purpose. It turns weakness into resilience, hesitation into confidence, and inconsistency into stability. The strength you gain through discipline doesn't just help you reach your goals. It equips you to handle every season of life with courage and determination. Over time, the disciplined person becomes strong enough not just to chase success, but to sustain it, protect it, and use it wisely. Discipline helps you rise after failure because it teaches you that setbacks are not the end of the story, but stepping stones toward growth. Everyone falls short at some point. Everyone makes mistakes, faces disappointments, or experiences moments when things simply don't go as planned. Failure is not reserved for the weak. It visits the strong, the talented, and even the disciplined. But the difference between those who stay down and those who rise again is discipline. Discipline gives you the ability to get back up, dust yourself off, and keep pressing forward when life knocks you down. Without discipline, failure can feel like a permanent defeat. It can paralyze you with fear, shame, or regret. People without discipline often stay down because they are controlled by emotions. They let discouragement, embarrassment, or the opinions of others define them. But discipline refuses to let failure write the final chapter. Discipline says, yes, you fell, but get up. Yes, you made a mistake, but learn from it. Yes, it hurts, but healing and progress are still possible. Discipline doesn't deny the pain of failure, but it refuses to surrender to it. Every time you choose to rise after failure, you build resilience. You teach yourself that falling down is not fatal, and setbacks are not the end of the road. Think of a child learning to walk. They fall dozens of times, but their determination to keep trying eventually strengthens their legs and balances their steps. If they quit after the first fall, they would never experience the joy of walking. In the same way, discipline gives adults that same childlike persistence. It tells you that falling is part of the process, but with each attempt, you are growing stronger, wiser, and more capable. Discipline also helps you see failure as feedback rather than a dead end. Instead of wallowing in guilt or self-pity, discipline helps you evaluate what went wrong and what can be done differently next time. It shifts your perspective from blame to responsibility. Instead of saying, "I'm a failure," discipline says, "I failed, but I can adjust, improve, and try again." That mindset is what allows you to rise higher after every setback. Failure becomes a teacher rather than a chain that holds you back. The truth is, no one achieves success without facing failure. Behind every strong leader, successful entrepreneur, accomplished athlete, or thriving individual, there are countless stories of times they fell short. What sets them apart is not that they avoided failure, but that they refused to stay down. They chose discipline over defeat. They kept moving forward when giving up would have been easier. Their resilience became the very foundation of their success. Discipline also helps you rise after failure by teaching consistency. It reminds you that one bad day, one wrong choice, or even one painful season does not erase all your progress. You don't throw away your entire garden because one plant withered. You tend to the others and keep planting. In the same way, discipline helps you see the bigger picture. One fall does not define your journey. You can pick yourself up and continue building on what you've already accomplished. The disciplined person doesn't allow failure to erase their momentum. They use it to propel them further. Another way discipline helps in the face of failure is by keeping you focused on your goals rather than your setbacks. When failure happens, it's easy to lose sight of the destination and fixate on the problem. But discipline lifts your eyes back to the vision, reminding you why you started in the first place. It keeps you from wallowing in disappointment and directs your energy back toward progress. Even when emotions scream that it's over, discipline whispers, "Keep going. There's still more ahead of you." Discipline also strengthens your confidence after failure. At first, failure can make you doubt yourself, question your abilities, or wonder if you're capable. But when you choose to rise again, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your setbacks. Every time you overcome a failure, you gain a new level of courage. You realize that falling doesn't destroy you, it develops you. Discipline helps you face the future with greater boldness because you know that even if you fail again, you have what it takes to rise again. Failure is inevitable, but defeat is optional. Discipline is what makes the difference between the two. It's what separates those who live in regret from those who grow in resilience. It's what transforms a stumble into a stepping stone. Discipline says that your past mistakes don't define your future. It says that your setbacks are not the end. They are simply chapters in a bigger story of perseverance and victory. When you look back on your life, you won't remember every single fall. What you will remember is the times you rose again, the times you refused to give up, and the times you kept moving forward despite the pain. That's the legacy of discipline. It doesn't promise that you'll never fail, but it promises that failure will never have the final word. Through discipline, you rise again and again until the very things that once knocked you down become the very things that built you up. Discipline creates a life that can carry success because without a solid foundation, success is fragile. Many people dream of success, financial freedom, recognition, influence, or fulfilling their goals, but not everyone is ready for the responsibility that comes with it. Discipline is what prepares you to handle success when it arrives. It shapes your character, develops your habits, and builds the strength you need to sustain blessings without being crushed under their weight. Success is not just about reaching a destination. It's about being able to remain steady once you get there. Discipline is what ensures that when success comes, it doesn't destroy you, but strengthens you. There are countless stories of people who achieved sudden success but couldn't sustain it. Athletes who rose to fame but fell apart because they lacked self-control. Business owners who grew too fast but lost everything because they lacked financial discipline. Or individuals who reached positions of power but crumbled under the weight of temptation because their character wasn't prepared. Success without discipline is like putting a heavy load on a weak foundation. The structure eventually collapses. Discipline, on the other hand, builds a foundation strong enough to carry the weight of influence, responsibility, and opportunity. One of the most important things discipline does is teach you stewardship. Success is not just about receiving, it's about managing what you've been given. Discipline trains you to manage your time wisely, to handle your resources carefully, and to treat people with respect and integrity. When success comes, you won't be reckless with it, because discipline has already taught you how to be faithful in the small things. If you can't manage little responsibilities with discipline, greater responsibilities will overwhelm you. Discipline ensures that success doesn't just come into your hands, it stays there. Discipline also helps you carry success by keeping you grounded. Success can be intoxicating. It can make you feel untouchable, invincible, or above the rules. That's why so many people self-destruct after achieving what they thought they wanted. Discipline keeps pride in check. It reminds you that success is not an excuse to stop growing, stop learning, or stop practicing humility. Discipline keeps you rooted in the habits and principles that brought you success in the first place. Without discipline, success can inflate your ego and blind you to the very things that will cause you to fall. Another way discipline prepares you to carry success is by creating consistency. Anyone can have a good day, a good week, or even a good year, but true success requires stability over time. Discipline helps you show up when the excitement fades. It teaches you to remain faithful in both the ordinary days and the extraordinary ones. It's not talent or luck that sustains success, it's the steady hand of discipline guiding your actions day after day. With discipline, your success doesn't rise and fall with your moods or circumstances. Instead, it becomes steady, reliable, and enduring. Discipline also protects success from being wasted. Imagine someone who works hard to build a business but then spends recklessly, hires carelessly, and neglects their responsibilities. Without discipline, what took years to build can crumble in months. But with discipline, you guard what you've gained. You make wise choices that protect your progress. You continue to nurture what you've built instead of taking it for granted. Discipline teaches you to value success, not just enjoy it. It makes you a caretaker of your blessings rather than a careless spender of them. It's also worth remembering that success attracts pressure. The higher you go, the more demands will be placed on you. People will look to you, depend on you, and expect more from you. Without discipline, those pressures can crush you. But discipline strengthens your capacity to handle them. It equips you with the patience to deal with challenges, the self-control to make wise decisions, and the endurance to carry heavy responsibilities without quitting. Discipline expands your shoulders so you can carry more without collapsing under the weight. Discipline creates balance as well. Success in one area of life means little if the rest of your life is falling apart. Some people achieve financial success but lose their health. Others climb the career ladder but neglect their families. Discipline helps you maintain balance so that success in one area doesn't cost you everything else. It teaches you to set boundaries, to prioritize wisely, and to keep perspective. True success is not just reaching the top, it's reaching the top while still having peace, joy, and healthy relationships. Discipline makes that possible. Ultimately, discipline creates sustainability. Quick success without discipline is like a firework, bright, flashy, and short-lived. Discipline-driven success is like a lighthouse, steady, dependable, and lasting. It may not appear as dramatic at first, but it endures through storms and continues to shine. Discipline gives you the strength to not only rise, but to remain. It builds habits that carry you through challenges, principles that guide your decisions, and resilience that keeps you moving forward.